Well, good afternoon, and thanks to all of you for joining us. This is going to be a content-filled afternoon. Now, we've got 30 minutes. I've got a lot of material that we're going to cover here, but I'm glad that you were able to join us. And before I get into all of the content that I'm going to be covering about 6 game-changing activities that can really make a difference in your job search, let me start off by just sharing a couple things with you about NSENG for those of you that are new to the organization. Just to let you know that NSENG is the largest job search group in the United States. We've got over 10,000 members in the organization, and we have more than one member landing a new job every day. Now, I like to think that a lot of that's because of the marketing approach that we teach a lot of folks that are in the job search, because this is not an HR exercise. This is about creating visibility and being able to engage the audiences that you're trying to reach. And that's really a lot of what I teach to individuals that are in a job search. I'm going to start off by telling you that NSENG the membership is free. If you go to nsenginc.com, you can join the group. You're going to immediately get access to all of the members, but you're going to get 2 webinar recordings from me and the opportunity to network with some great people. I also urge you to join our LinkedIn group. It's a very active organization. It's an opportunity for you to, ask questions of other folks. I also have advertisers that are promoting various positions that they're looking to fill up on the site. So please take a look there as well, and feel free to get as active in that organization as you wish. I've got 17 on-demand webinar recordings on all different aspects of job search. So please go ahead, visit the website, take a look at the various recordings. There's descriptions behind every one of them. And these are all different activities that everybody in the job search at some point in time oftentimes encounters, whether it's resumes, LinkedIn profiles, cover letters, age discrimination, which is unfortunately alive and well for job seekers. But there are definitely ways in which you can overcome them. And I talk about 20 different things that you can do in that recording. So take a look at those recordings. And in addition to that, I have 3 3-hour recordings that are workshops. One is my trademark What the Hell approach to job search, which is a unique, unorthodox approach to job search. I've got 13 what the hell moves that I get into very deeply. And the whole premise behind the concept is what the hell do you have to lose by doing things that other job seekers aren't doing? Because so much of the job search is about standing out, creating value, and being able to connect with the right people and the right companies to make a difference in your search and ultimately try to shorten it. I do a 3-hour session on maximizing the value of LinkedIn, and then I do a 3rd session on creating and implementing an effective job search plan, because every company that most of us have ever worked for have required us in many parts to put together a job search plan. Well, in this case, in your jobs, you're putting together a plan for the year, for the quarter, for the month, sometimes for the week. And a job search is really no different. You need to do this on the front end, but it's never too late to put together a plan so you optimize your time. Here's a couple of upcoming events. I'm going to be doing another job search LinkedIn Live on Friday, July 14th. It's going to be, again, a half-hour session, and it's going to be an open Q&A session. You can email questions to me in advance. You can chat them in during the session. And if you don't have any questions, join us anyway. Listen in. You'll hear a lot of things that people are asking about that probably are on your mind as well. And then on Thursday, July 27th, I'll be doing the 3-hour workshop on the What the Hell approach to job search. And as an added bonus to anybody who registers, you're going to get access to a 40-minute recording on how to build a target company list. Because like any good product that we launch into the marketplace, you got to be able to define the audience you're going after. One thing I do urge you all to do, because I'm fairly active in posting on LinkedIn. If you go to my LinkedIn profile and you see that little bell on the right-hand side, go ahead and click on that, and then you'll be notified anytime I go ahead and post on LinkedIn. And of course, all the posts that I'm putting out there are all job search related. And you can also go to #MartyGilbert on the LinkedIn platform, and you'll see a collection of a lot of my previous posts as well. So let's talk about 6 specific things that you can implement immediately to help make your job search easier, but more importantly, shorter. Now, this first one is about creating a video on your LinkedIn profile. And the reason why I'm mentioning this today is because LinkedIn has made a decision to discontinue this feature on June 26th. But if you create a video on your LinkedIn profile, it's going to appear right where your video is, where your photo is. If you do it before the 26th of June, you'll be grandfathered in and you'll be able to keep that video. But you've only got a few days left in order to do this. And doing it is very, very easy. You're going to do it off of your cell phone. Okay, it's all performed off your cell phone. So if you go onto your cell phone, open up the LinkedIn application, and then scroll down to the resources section within the application and turn on creator mode. Okay, you're going to then be able to enter up to 5 different hashtag topics. And these should be topics that are germane to your background, things that you're strong in, some of the areas that you want people to know that you bring value in these different subjects or topics. The fourth item is to then click on your LinkedIn photo. You'll see in the right-hand lower corner, there's a little plus sign there. If you click on that and then select add a cover story, you're going to be able to create your own recording of you talking about yourself. Now, here's why I think this is an important thing to take advantage of. Because when people are looking at different candidates, and believe me, on average, to any good job that's out there, there's probably still over 100 people applying to them. You want to stand out. But one of the things that a lot of hiring companies and hiring managers are looking for is how do you communicate? How do you communicate? How do you communicate your value? How do you communicate your past? How do you talk about your achievements, things that you've done? And of course, you're going to have only 30 seconds here, but it's an opportunity to highlight for people that hover over your photo to hear you talking about the most important product in your job search, you. So again, I eliminated a lot of people when I was interviewing people for various jobs that I was looking to fill because they didn't have the communication skills that I was looking for or the presence or the level of confidence. This is an opportunity for you to display it to anybody who comes to your profile without them actually meeting you. And it can make a huge difference in your marketability. Again, the easy way to do this is, again, go into your photo. And when people hover over your created video, they're going to see that there's a video there sitting beneath it, and they'll be able to view it. And you'll see on the right-hand side here, it'll be, you talking about yourself. And again, the hashtags that you can include in there. So again, take advantage of this. There's only a few more days left. And it may take you a few takes in order to get it the way you want it looking, but it can be a tremendous value add to anybody who's in a job search. Number 2, start thinking about yourself as if you were a new product launch. Now, people buy products for a number of different reasons, but I've just come up with 4 major ones, right? People buy things based on emotion, right? A lot of times we buy that candy bar at the cash register because it's caught our eye. It's easy to, to think, oh boy, it's, how it's going to be great, to just reach out, grab it, put it in the bag, and then, have it later as a reward, right? People buy things based on recommendations. Okay. When you're going out to buy products, a lot of times you want to talk to other folks that have considered or have bought that product. A lot of people get heavily influenced by advertising, whether it's radio, TV, online, offline, doesn't matter. And of course, probably the single greatest, motivator for people to buy products is the value. What are you getting for the amount of money that you're paying for that product? Now, people that are in positions to hire make decisions on hiring based on these same kind of factors. And the only difference now is that you are that product. And you've got to do things to entice them, to get them engaged, to get them interested in your background. So you need to be making sure that whether it's your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your cover letters, anything that is out there that communicates who you are and what you stand for, it's got to be able to, address, the ways in which you attract attention and get people engaged about the value. Because in the end, we can't afford every product. We've only got so much money to spend on this particular position that we're looking to fill, but we want to make sure we get the best person for what our money will buy. And so no different than buying products. So what are the things that go into, starting to think about yourself as a new product launch? Well, you got to create a branding statement. You got to talk about your value. And you've got to understand what are the unique competencies and the examples that set you apart from other job seekers that are going after the very same positions as you. So let's just talk briefly about each one of these. Okay. So what is a branding statement? Well, it's a short phrase that very quickly starts to describe what your background is about, what you stand for, what potentially differentiates you from other people. But more importantly, it summarizes something very special about you. Here's just a couple examples. For somebody who maybe is in project management, I bring order to chaotic technical projects. Somebody in marketing, a marketing leader who's carried a sales bag. Now, that's a unique one because most marketing people never go into sales. You'll find salespeople that cross over into marketing, but very seldom do you find many marketing folks that have spent time actually handling customers as a sales quota carrying individual. If you have done that, this is a unique differentiator. Number three, I translate data and analytics into business strategies. Okay, and I know there's a lot of you out there that are very much involved in the data and analytics of evaluating companies and business opportunities. And then the last one, a direct, indirect, and social selling champion. This is a great one for somebody in sales because there's many different ways in which to sell. But direct sales, you selling directly to the end user, to the direct customer. Might be B2B, might be B2C. Indirect, people that sell through resellers, through distributors, through retailers, any number of indirect distribution channels. And then social selling, which has become more and more important with the advent of digital marketing. There are a lot of people that are, educating a lot of customers online. In fact, this platform is a great canvas for being able to socially sell to people that you want to get interested in the products that you're representing. The important thing here is that you need to have something that makes you memorable, and a branding statement will help do that. And if you think about branding as sort of that overriding message about your background, and then what are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things maybe that feed off of that statement that help people understand holistically what you're all about. And that's where your value proposition comes into play. So you start with the branding statement, and then you've got to have this this value proposition that sits at the top of your resume. It's sitting right under, your contact information, right underneath your branding statement. And here's just one small example for an HR individual. An HR leader who leverages technology and data to propel human resources improvement opportunities, orchestrates employee engagement programs, turnover analysis, potential risks, talent recruitment, onboarding, and turnaround plans, utilizes market research and best practices to drive change management, expertise with addressing HR challenges through a merger or acquisition. Every word counts in a value proposition. In fact, every word counts in a resume. And if you notice, every one of these different topics that we've put in here are very specific. It's not talking about how collaborative you are, what a great team player you are, how passionate you are about an industry. These are the key words and key phrases that show up for somebody in this case who might be looking for a leadership role in HR. And so if you think about the jobs that you want, canvas the keywords that are in those job descriptions. And those are the kinds of words that you want to make sure that you insert into your value proposition. So sometimes I'm asked, how long should that be? Well, that section that sits, again, up at the top of your resume is probably, depending upon the amount of experience that you have, is mostly going to be somewhere between 70 and 100 words. You can put some key competencies underneath it, but this is really important. So what are your unique competencies that you might want to include in your resume, in your LinkedIn profile, when you start talking about your background? So for somebody in marketing, it could be product management, lead generation, PR, digital marketing, and on and on. So you want to be able to identify those things that typically are showing up in the jobs that you want to pursue. Number three, as any new product, who are you selling this product to? Okay, you've got to be able to define who your audience is. Okay, and I think of it in terms of a 3-layered approach. The first and top layer is, what industries have you been in? Okay, within those industries, who are all the companies that fall into those industries. And for some of you, it may not matter where the geography of those companies are, because some jobs, let's face it, are going to have a hybrid model or going to be remotely located. And then the third layer is, who are the key people that you need to connect with in every one of those companies. You're essentially building out a database here of industries, companies, and people within every one of those companies that you want to market yourself into. Don't worry about whether or not they have a job that's advertised online or anywhere else. That's not important. What's most important is that you've defined your audience, you know who you need to get to, and then you're going to implement, and we're going to talk about an outbound marketing campaign that creates visibility. But this exercise starts with defining the audience that you want to go after. Number 4, I know a lot of people are not real embracive of cold calling on people that you don't know. But if you don't have a networking connection, then you don't have any other choice. Okay. And again, always look, if there's a company you want to try to break into, look for people in your network. But you may not have somebody in your network that is working in that company, or maybe knows somebody inside that company. So it should never hold back the opportunity to make some visibility for yourself inside the firm. So again, here's just a brief example of somebody you might want to connect with who might happen to be inside a company of interest to you. My name is Sally Smith, and I'm interested in the operations manager role that your company is currently looking to fill. Okay, I was wondering if you might be open to having a brief 10-minute call so I could learn about the company's organizational structure and get your advice on how to create more visibility with the leaders of the operations department. Happy to return the favor. Now, you're not going to send this out only to one person. You'll send it out to multiple people inside that company. Again, you don't have a networking connection as a way to get you in there, but as a last resort, you got to be willing to cold connect with people. And it's so easy to do on LinkedIn, but send it to multiple people. And you're not asking for a lot of their time, 10 minutes. You can ask for 5 minutes. If the conversation goes well, it will go beyond that 5 or 10 minute threshold. And you'll be amazed at how many people are willing to help you, because some of the greatest help in the job search is going to come from people that you've never met. Okay. It's going to come from people that are not closest to you. It's going to come from people that you didn't know before you started your job search. And that's okay, because the fact is that you're just looking for connectivity and information and advice on how to break into a company. And folks on the inside can help do that for you, because they know what it's like and they know the organizational structure. Number 5. Now, this is where you start to wrap everything together. Right? We talked about your value proposition. We talked about branding. We talk about targeting, the audience. Well, how do you get to those folks? And it's through an outbound marketing campaign, because it's all about positioning, branding, packaging, targeting your audience, your messaging, because the positioning is about why you. Okay. One of the questions that you're oftentimes asked at the beginning of an interview or in the beginning of a networking meeting, is, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself? Okay. A lot of people struggle with this question. Okay. Branding. You got to make yourself memorable, because they're interviewing a lot of people. And there's, when you're networking, there's a lot of people that are networking with a lot of individuals who are in a job search. So what is it about you? And that's where the branding statement comes in, that makes people remember who you are, so that they can then start to help market you into various companies. You got to be able to package your skills. How do you put all these skills together and make yourself a more favorable candidate? We talked about targeting various audiences, and then the messaging, whether it's online, whether it's offline, you've got to get it right. In addition to that, you got to be able to and embrace the idea of promoting yourself. You've got to be willing and able to connect with key influencers inside companies, or people that can help get you into companies. You've got to engage those companies that that you've now found a way into. And of course, during interviews, you've got to become very persuasive. I know a lot of us were brought up with the idea that we don't talk about ourselves. We talk about the team and what we did. But you're not looking for a job for multiple people. You're looking for a job for just one person here. And if you aren't, the one who's really tooting your horn, There may not be many other people out there that are or willing to do it for you. So you've got to become very persuasive and connect the dots between things that you've done in your background and the kinds of things that companies are looking for. Okay. And again, you can't limit yourself just to the firms that currently have, opportunities out there that are advertised, because at any given point in time, 30% of the jobs are not advertised. There are more and more companies that are looking to their employees to help make recommendations into various positions that the company's trying to fill. And as a result, companies are willing to pay those individuals, on average, maybe $1,000 to $2,000 if they can, introduce you into a company and you get hired. They're going to get rewarded for it. So don't ever think that when you're networking and asking people for introductions, that you are absolutely bothering them. You, in fact, may be doing just the opposite. You may be providing them with an opportunity to earn some additional income that they had no plan to be able to enjoy. So please, you've got to be able to step out of your comfort zone. And the sooner you get comfortable with that, the sooner you're going to start to make more things happen. Because so much of the job search is about building up a backlog of opportunities. And I posted about this today on LinkedIn. You need to start thinking, as I mentioned earlier, about yourself as a marketing person. But there's just as much selling going on here, because every one of you, with every new product we launch into the marketplace, any good salesperson is building up a backlog of opportunities, oftentimes referred to as a sales funnel, because we start with a lot of opportunities at the top, but very few of them actually get down to the bottom in terms of a purchase, or in your particular case, in terms of a job offer. So the more opportunities you create for yourself at the top of the sales funnel, the more opportunities you're going to get for interviews and potential offers as you work your way through the process. And I got to tell you, I can't say enough about all these different activities that are here on the page. Every one of them is a marketing activity. And it's a way in which you can separate yourself from everybody else. Because I can tell you, so many job seekers are spending a lot of their time answering online ads, which first of all means they're really, walking away from a lot of opportunities with companies that are not advertised. They're also walking away from opportunities to create a job for yourself. Okay, I've done it myself on multiple occasions. I've done it and worked with a lot of job seekers who I've coached, who have gotten the opportunity to create opportunities for themselves because of the way that they've marketed themselves, because they've gone after companies that didn't have advertised jobs. And as a result, they created visibility and interest that got them an exploratory conversation, and in some cases, got them job offers. So the sixth move is about, well, we're not there yet. I'm just going to expand on this. So when we talk about the outbound marketing campaign, we've talked about the value proposition. Okay. And so everything starts from there. That value proposition is going to appear in your resume, in your LinkedIn profile. And we're going to talk about building out that target company list and the target individuals that you want to go after. And then the question is, what are the marketing avenues that I'm going to use to get the word out on me, this new product that I'm bringing into the marketplace? Whether it's through emails, networking introductions, maybe you're a good writer and you want to, post some things on LinkedIn, or maybe you want to write a newsletter. These are all things that are easily implemented. You should definitely join a lot of LinkedIn groups. And of course, LinkedIn is great from that standpoint because they let you join up to 100. These can be, industry groups. They can be groups that are based on various job functions. There's associations that some of you may be able to tap into. And for those of you that are a little bit more ambitious, you might want to create a video or two or three on LinkedIn where it's you talking about, different aspects of your background. It might be your perspective on different things associated with your job function or your industry. It's a way to create visibility and post it onto many different LinkedIn groups. And now you've got some of these groups, by the way, are tens of thousands of members. And some of them can be much smaller if you are looking at groups that are in your local city. Again, the whole idea here is create a lot more awareness for you and what you can bring to a company that might have an interest in your background. So now the sixth one. Okay, so we've kind of tied it all together with the outbound marketing campaign. But taking chances in your job search is a really important attitude to adopt. Okay, because sometimes the people that take the more unusual path to their next job are going to get far more results. Okay, so the unorthodox approach can oftentimes create extraordinary outcomes for you. I'm going to mention here the applicant tracking system. Number two, the ATS is something I'm sure many of you have encountered, and I'm sure many of you have encountered it from a negative standpoint. You've gotten that rejection, email. I'm sorry, but you're just not a fit with the role that you've applied for. That should never stop you from moving further into your campaign to create awareness in that company that has a job that you want, and for whatever reason, the ATS has rejected you. I can tell you, I've worked with a lot of individuals that have been rejected by applicant tracking systems in 10, 15, 20 minutes, and have still been able to help them get jobs because there's no reason to empower a piece of software. You should go around that. You can go directly to the hiring manager and that hiring manager's peers and create visibility for yourself with that outbound marketing campaign. No, very few people, quite honestly, do this because it makes them feel a little uncomfortable. But I can tell you, they get you what you want. You want to get known inside a company. And just because a piece of software has rejected your resume because it didn't have enough keyword matches doesn't mean you are not entitled to create the visibility and the value for your background with companies that are of interest to you, with jobs that you think you're highly qualified for. Because I can tell you, the best candidate does not always get the job. But the person who creates more visibility inside the company, whether it's through a networking contact or things that they do directly on their own through an outbound email campaign, those people are going to have a huge advantage because they're going to get seen a lot more. And of course, you can create advocates inside a company very quickly by being able to connect with folks inside, a firm that's of interest to you, and they become your champions now because they have, in many cases, a financial reason to want to help you land that next job. Number three, email hiring managers directly, even if you don't have that networking contact. And we talked about cold emailing. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing lost. Nothing gained. Well, you got to take chances. Number four, if you're going through the interview process and you're not sure that the company is going to move forward with the position, and a lot of companies in the end decide not to decide, there's nothing wrong with offering them an opportunity for project work. Hey, if by any chance you're not completely sold on the fact that you want to fill this position, I'd be happy to take on some project work for some work that you don't have people in-house to do, or you don't have the skills, you don't have the bandwidth. Well, I've done this on a couple occasions, and it's led to full-time roles. And the fact is, again, a lot of people don't do this, but it's a great opportunity for you to prove yourself to a company. It also gives you an opportunity to see whether or not this is a company you want to work for, because there's no better way to see what the culture is like inside a company than actually having an opportunity to be on the inside. And so this gives you that opportunity. It also gives you an opportunity to start making some income. You start feeling better about yourself because now you're making use of your time in a slightly different way. It will never prevent you from continuing with your job search just because you've taken on a project. Because when you get smart with your job search, what normally was taking you 40 or so hours, you now can get done in 10. Okay, if you know how to optimize your time. Number five, it's great to have a great LinkedIn profile, and you want to make sure that it's search engine optimized. But for those of you that want to create more visibility for yourself, don't be on the sidelines watching what everybody else does. Get active on the platform. Post things. Don't be afraid to take things that have been published and make comment on them and put into a number of different LinkedIn groups, or create some original things on your own. And then the last one is my trademark, what the hell approach to job search. You've got to be willing to do things and try things that you've never done before. And it's okay. Nobody is sitting there watching to see whether or not you have failed. There's nothing wrong with trying things that don't produce the results that you are hoping for, because the fact is that we know that there's a lot of opportunity out there with companies that would love to have your kind of background, but they just don't know who you are. And so that's why I've created these 13 moves. And I just urge you to take the opportunity to take advantage of things like this, because they can create a lot of things for you that you might not be getting today. For those of you that may be in need of some additional help, I do provide a lot of job search coaching services. I've got coaching packages, and I do one-on-one custom coaching services, whether it's providing you with the rewrite of your value proposition summary, your resume and LinkedIn profile critiques, interviewing, cover letters. And by the way, cover letters are an essential part of any job search portfolio, because there are only about 1 out of 3 job seekers who are writing them, which is all the more reason why you should be. But over 80% of hiring managers in recent studies say that they like getting them because they want to see how you communicate. In many ways, not that different from creating that video on your LinkedIn profile. They want to hear what you have to say about yourself. And the one thing that a cover letter does that a resume and a LinkedIn profile don't do is it enables you to control the story. Because there's a lot to read and decipher in a resume and a LinkedIn profile. But in the cover letter, you are deciding the things that you want to highlight. Okay, again, I've got an hour and a half recording on this, on how to create highly customized cover letters in less than 15 minutes. And it can be done. And I've seen it work for a lot of folks that are in job search. If you want any services in the coaching area, please feel free to reach out to me. Just email me at mgilbert@nsenginc.com, and happy to have a brief exploratory conversation with you about your search and how I can help at no cost to you. Again, if you have not yet joined NSENG, go to our website, join the group. It's free. You get access to 2 recordings and the opportunity to network with over 10,000 people. If you are not yet linked in with me, connect with me. Let me know that you attended this session, and I'll accept that connection and give you access to over 28,000 of my LinkedIn connections. Join our LinkedIn group, view my videos and podcast interviews on the website, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and look at the upcoming events, whether they're webinars, workshops, and of course the portfolio of 17 webinar recordings and 3 workshop recordings. The fact is that the job search is hard work. It is hard work. And the fact is, you've got to be willing to be a little adventurous. Okay. It's a great opportunity to experiment. I urge you all to really take that to heart, because it's really easy to do what everybody else is doing. But most people today are taking on average anywhere from 3 to 7 months to land their next job. And what you all want is to land your next great job in the shortest time frame. And if you don't get the word out on your background, it will take longer. And you don't want that. So be willing to do things that are different. Be willing to try things that you've never done before. And I hope that these ideas that I've shared with you today help make a difference in your job search. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and keep an eye out for other events. And please be sure to click the bell on my LinkedIn profile and see what I have to say as I post out in the weeks and months ahead. Thanks again for your participation. All the best to you in your job search.